Hey everyone, you're not going to believe this one, but today's story is about the time I completely flipped the script on our power-hungry HOA president. You know those stories about crazy HOA rules? Yeah, mine takes it to a whole new level. I've been living in Fox Hollow for years. Nice little neighborhood, quiet streets, families just trying to get by. I'm Jim Miller, construction worker, family guy, just trying to make an honest living. My wife Emily's a nurse, working late shifts at the hospital, and our daughter Sarah just turned 16. We bought her this old Honda, nothing fancy, but she loves it. Plus, we've got my work truck and Emily's SUV. Three cars, no big deal, right? Well, apparently, that's a huge problem for Karen Martin, our HOA president. She's the kind of person who thinks being in charge of the neighborhood means she's in charge of everyone's lives. Always walking around with that little pink clipboard, snapping pictures of people's yards, measuring grass height like she's conducting a CSI investigation. One Tuesday morning, I was just grabbing the newspaper when I spotted it. A bright orange notice slapped right on my front door. I ripped it off and read it, and my blood just about boiled. Immediate HOA fee increase, $500 per month. Violation, excessive vehicles on property. I couldn't believe it. Three cars went in a driveway that could easily fit five. I stared at that notice, feeling a mix of rage and disbelief. Then I glanced out the window, and there she was, Karen doing her morning patrol, measuring some poor neighbor's flower bed like it was a crime scene. Emily called out from the living room, sounding just as frustrated as I was. "Jim, is that another one of those stupid notices?" I gritted my teeth, trying to keep calm. "Yeah, but this time I'm done playing nice." Little did Karen know, I had a plan, one that would make her regret ever messing with me and my family. Trust me, you're gonna love how this one ends. Let's get into it. I never wanted to pick a fight with the HOA. I really didn't. But when Karen Martin slapped that $500 fee on my door over three perfectly normal cars, I knew something had to change. I mean, who does she think she is? I work my butt off every day to keep a roof over my family's head, and now I'm supposed to just take this? Emily could see I was boiling over, so she walked over, put a hand on my shoulder. "Maybe we should just put Sarah's car in the garage," she said softly. I shook my head. "No way. The garage is packed with your medical supplies and my work equipment. And besides, we're not hiding our kid's car like it's some kind of crime." I glanced out the window again, and there she was, Karen, snapping more photos of my driveway. I swear it took everything in me not to storm out there and give her a piece of my mind. But then I stopped myself. Getting angry wouldn't solve anything. Karen wasn't the type to back down just because someone yelled at her. No, if I was going to take her down, I'd need to be smart about it. And that's when it hit me. The plan I'd been working on for years. I'd been quietly buying up properties in Fox Hollow through my real estate company, Sunrise Properties. At first it was just an investment strategy, but now it was about something more. It was about taking back our neighborhood from that power-hungry tyrant. That night, while Emily was making dinner, my phone buzzed. I checked the screen. It was my lawyer. "Property closing complete. You now own 65% of the development." I couldn't help but smirk. I'd been buying up homes under different LLC names to keep it under the radar, and now I owned the majority of Fox Hollow. Karen didn't know it yet, but she'd just picked a fight with the wrong guy. As if on cue, another notice popped up on my phone, an email from Karen herself. She was calling an emergency HOA meeting for that night. Apparently, she was planning to push through a new rule to limit the number of cars per household. Perfect. I spent the next few hours gathering every document, every deed, every little piece of evidence I'd been saving. Karen thought she could just bully me into submission, but she didn't know who she was dealing with. When I finally stepped out of my office, Emily was waiting for me in the hallway. "What are you going to do?" she asked, a little worried. I gave her a reassuring smile. It's time Karen learns who really owns this neighborhood. As I made a few final phone calls, I couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement. All those years of planning, all those quiet purchases, it was all about to pay off. Tonight, Karen was about to get the shock of her life, and I couldn't wait to see her face when she realized she wasn't in charge anymore. The community center was packed that night. Neighbors were crammed into every seat, some even standing in the back, whispering and glancing at each other. I took a spot near the back, arms crossed, staying quiet. Karen was at the podium, tapping her little pink gavel like she was about to pass a new law. She flashed that smug grin of hers and fired up the projector. The screen lit up with blown-up pictures of my driveway, my truck, Emily's SUV, Sarah's Honda, all taken from ridiculous angles to make it look like some chaotic parking lot. "Ladies and gentlemen," Karen began, all sweet and condescending, "as you can see, Mr. Miller's property has become an unsightly mess, practically a used car lot. This behavior is unacceptable and does not meet the standards of our community." A few of her loyal lapdogs nodded, but most people just looked confused or bored. I could see some folks rolling their eyes, especially the ones who had been on the receiving end of Karen's selective enforcement before. Karen flipped to the next slide showing a chart. Yeah, a whole freaking chart, allegedly proving that my excessive vehicles were lowering property values. She even had anonymous complaints listed, but we all knew those complaints were just her friends. And then she pulled out the binder. Thick, heavy, packed with logs of every single vehicle that entered or left my driveway over the past 3 months. "Furthermore," Karen said, practically glowing with self-satisfaction, "I have documented evidence of these vehicles remaining stationary for over 48 hours at a time. Clearly, this is not just a family residence, but a commercial operation." I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, slowly, letting the room settle before I spoke. "Point of order, Madam President." Karen stiffened, her smile dropping. "You're not recognized, Mr. Miller." "Oh, I think I am." I took my time walking to the front, holding up my own folder. "According to HOA Bylaw Section 73, any property owner may challenge voting procedures. And I think everyone here deserves to know a few things before we vote on any new rules." She looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. I could see her knuckles turning white as she gripped the podium. I took a deep breath and continued. "Over the past 5 years, Sunrise Properties has been acquiring homes in this neighborhood. And as CEO of Sunrise Properties, I now own 65% of Fox Hollow." The room erupted, people gasping, whispering, some even laughing in disbelief. Karen's face went pale. "And that makes me the majority owner of this HOA, I added, looking straight into Karen's stunned eyes. Before she could even process that, I held up another folder. "Also, I have here documented complaints from 32 residents regarding harassment, selective enforcement, and, oh yeah, misappropriation of HOA funds." Karen's jaw dropped. She fumbled with her clipboard, but it was too late. The crowd was already turning against her. One of the neighbors, Mrs. Johnson, stood up and shouted, "That's right. She fined me $200 for my rose bushes being too vibrant." Another neighbor chimed in. "She threatened to sue me over a bird feeder." A bird feeder! Karen banged her gavel, desperate to regain control, but no one was listening. People were on their feet, shouting, sharing their own stories. It was like years of frustration just exploded. I raised my hand to quiet them down. "I move to dissolve the current board and hold new elections," I announced, effective immediately. Karen tried to protest, but her voice was drowned out by the unanimous vote. Every single hand went up. Her face was priceless, eyes wide, mouth hanging open, looking like a dethroned queen. She had no power left, and it was about time. With Karen finally out, we got straight to work rebuilding our community. We held new elections, voted in real neighbors who actually cared. Rules got rewritten, fees were lowered, and folks could finally breathe without worrying about some petty fine. Turns out, when you treat people like actual human beings instead of walking dollar signs, the neighborhood actually thrives. Go figure, right? A few weeks later, I was sipping coffee on my porch when I saw it. Karen's moving truck. Yep, she was packing up, leaving Fox Hollow for good. As her car pulled out of the driveway, I couldn't help but notice a shiny new parking ticket plastered to her windshield from her new HOA. Karma's a real kicker, huh? Honestly, Seeing her drive away was satisfying. But the best part? Fox Hollow became a community again. Families playing outside, gardens growing without Karen measuring every blade of grass, and no more random inspections at 3 a.m. I even put up a new sign at the entrance. Welcome to Thompson Hills, where good neighbors make great communities. So yeah, lesson learned. Never underestimate the quiet guy who just wants to be left alone. You never know when he might secretly own the whole place. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you love this story and want to hear more crazy HOA tales, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more. And hey, ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA president yourself? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear your story. Catch you next time.